right, we're all set to go. This is the I Know Brian show because, well, you know me. Well, if you don't know me and you're getting this thing out already, that'd be pretty darn impressive. But this is the first time we're doing it live. I got a new microphone, got the camera set up. I'm using Riverside. I'm sure they got their logo here someplace using their program. First time with a lot of these things. And probably the big message overall with everything that I do is like, you just got to do it sometimes. Look, we're not building anything here that's going to hurt anybody. You want to do a podcast, just, well, I hate to sound like that logo, so we won't say that. You want to do a podcast? Let's go back to the kid stuff. Put one foot in front of the other. Take small steps, really small steps, and you can get it done. So, how do you do it? Well, I'm going to say you just do it. Man, you know that word just is a killer. You ever listen to people and they talk about what they do and they say just. It's so easy, Brian. You just. And I'm thinking, man, alive, that comes naturally to you. And then you speak to the person, you find out many, many times it does not really come naturally to them. It comes through practice. Comes from going out there doing it. It comes from the fact that you need to be comfortable making mistakes. You know, the Wayne Gretzky thing and all the rest of those other quotes that are out there. It's actually true. You know, you need to go out there and do things. Man, I was supposed to do something today. That would have been pretty darn wild. You know, me and Tommy were going to take a road trip, but the rain didn't exactly help out too much. But I do hope to take advantage of one of those road trips one of these days and jump on a microphone with different things. And that's really been my whole effort, is to wind up in situations, you call that luck, but to put myself in situations, no, that means I'm actually have a path that I take. The actual reality is to be with people that have the confidence in you to say, you should call Brian. You should call my friend, whatever. They should call you because they know that deep down inside, you're sincere about what you want to do, you're authentic about what you're doing, you're going to represent that person well, which is so unbelievably important. We all have these reputations, brands, as my friend Arthur would like to say. We all have these brands that are out there that we need to protect. So you need to be authentic. And if you are authentic, you're going to get referrals to do different things, even though you've never done that before, because they know that person who's referring you understands that if you know that you're going to need help, you're going to ask for help. And that becomes important. But to hold yourself back because you've never done it before, how do you do it? How do you actually do something for the first time if you've never done it before? I'm going to see if I could find some of the other information here. But like I said, I've only used this thing once before, and that was to play a recording, wasn't even to go live, as they say. But doing that, doing that thing. Looking for the chat on here. See if I can find it. There it is. There's the chat, live stream chat. There we go. We're good. So the thing is really go out there and do it. Da, 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 da. And ask for help. How do you get help? Oh, you know what? That's pretty easy to do too. You spend a lot of money. Well, that's not really true either. You don't have to spend a lot of money. It depends upon where you're at in your career. It depends upon what you're trying to portray. It depends upon your career, we'll say, and what that overall message is as to whether or not you need to really pay or don't pay or kind of pay and the rest of that kind of stuff. Look, overall, my message right now really is to tell you that you can do it. You can do it. And through my involvement with Toastmasters, I have countless times, people will get up on stage, will get up in the front of the room, and they'll give a presentation. They're like, oh my gosh, that was terrible. I can't believe how nervous I was. You must have seen it. And the answer is no. We did not. We did not see it. We didn't see that you were nervous. We didn't see that you started to perspire. We didn't see, your hands tremble a little bit. We didn't know that you didn't say half the things that you wanted to say. Why? Because one, we don't know what you're going to say. So everything you say is what we think you wanted to say. So if you miss something, you miss something. Your hands trembling, if they trembling, if they're moving a little bit like, well, if they're moving like this, but somebody's going to notice. But if you have them on your hand, you're laying them on your leg or have them in your pocket, one hand only. No, two hands when you're making a presentation on stage. So I was like, oh no, that you're afraid to do. But we don't know. We just don't know. Even if you're holding on to a piece of paper, or you got the lectern there, or anything like that. We don't know. And what about that sweat thing? Come on, really? How close do you think we are? you know, Big fans of yours, big fans, but we're not that close. I'm not sitting on top of you. I don't know that you're sweating. I really have no idea. And chances are nobody sees it. And if it's a little bit of perspiration coming down the side of your head, nobody sees it. And wherever else, you know, nobody sees it. Not a soul sees it. So 9 times out of 10, there's always somebody. 9 times out of 10, you are giving a much better presentation than you thought you ever could. That's my role over here. I want you to go out there and give that presentation. I want you to go out there and do that podcast. Do it for yourself, if you're the host. Do it as a guest. Do it as either way. Go on there with two, another person. This way, two of you as a guest with a host that's done it before. Not someone brand new because they may not know, but someone you do it with someone that you know, someone that you trust, and then just do it, or just do it and don't record it. Or I'm sorry, do it and record it. Don't just go live like this because I really have no idea what this is going to look like. So I'm really curious to see what it's going to look like. But I wanted to make a full run of the whole thing. Anyhow, go roughly. There we go. Go roughly about 10 minutes or so. I had to look for the clock to see what it was. We're at 7 minutes and 11 seconds right now. So I'll go to 10 minutes on here. We'll see what it looks like. And maybe it didn't broadcast at all. Wouldn't be the first time. But whatever. You know. And hopefully you had the microphones on. I checked the thing to make sure that I had it on. So we're good on that one. But that's it. So now you can do it a couple of different ways. Oh, you don't want to spend any money on it because you just don't know? No problem. Go to the Miller Business Center. They have a full setup. Full setup. They don't have the camera. You got to bring your own camera if you want to do the audio, do the visual side of it. But they got a phenomenal setup in there. I mean, really good. Much better than this one, too. Phenomenal professional setup in there for you to record. For you to record. I'm going to say that one again. For you to record. Not for you to go live with, but to record. And then you can listen to it. And you can beat yourself up about different things. Don't beat yourself up about different things. You did it. You took that step forward. But you can go over there and do it. You want to do it at home? Hey, look, I've spent a couple $100 over here for this stuff. Not much more than that. Mic, camera, couple of lights. I didn't even put them on over here today. But my camera and a couple of lights, and that's it. The rest of the stuff is just stuff that I got laying around the house. You know, Yosemite over here. I think I've had him around the house. In fact, I know I've had him around the house since I was a kid. Long, long, long time ago. Filled it up with coins a long, 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 long time ago. I'm curious to see how old those coins are, which probably means I'm old too. But we're not here to talk about age or anything like that. But I do thank everyone for wishing me a happy birthday. All right, so where were we? So you got it at home. A couple $100, you can do it at home. And you don't even need a big fancy microphone. It looks cool though. But you don't need a big fancy microphone. You can just use the microphone that's in your computer. And you can use the camera that's in the computer. Oh my gosh, that sounds like a Zoom call, doesn't it? That's it. You could do that. You want to take that step up. Now you're starting to spend a few dollars. And then there's all kinds of different services that you would get, not get, things like that. And that's for going to a studio. Obviously, if you go to a Miller Business Center, you have to go to a studio, but that's a complimentary one. Beautiful thing. Center East Library, gotta go. Speak to Elizabeth Russell. But then you can go to one of the studios that are out here, and you could just use the studio. You pay for that. You get professional editing. You get the intro, outro. You get a lot of things. So you pay for whatever it is. They can handle the social media marketing of the whole thing and everything. Should you start there when you're starting? My answer to that is no. You want to go there and have somebody walk you through all the microphone stuff and just to record something for yourself and just to do it like that, yeah, you know what? Maybe it does make sense. Because if you go to the Miller Business Center, Sal will teach you how to do it, and then you're pretty much on your own. But he's there to guide you. You're doing it at home. Well, if you're doing it at home, you're at home. You got that YouTube, the YouTube partner to go take a look to see what's happening with it. But if you want to be assisted in a much more of a formal setting, or you want to be assisted where you're coached inside of that studio setting, then you know what? Yeah, there's plenty of places to go. Donna Drake has got a place over in Melville. Anthony Barone, he's over out in the Bellport area. You got those two studios and a multitude of services and whatever, that would go along with that one too. It's all good. Then there's also other training that you can see online. Jess Todfeld has that program. And I'm going to put, well, if I can figure out how to put links up on everything, I'll certainly do that. But I definitely want to get these folks on and to share what it is that they're doing in these studios, including the Miller Business Center. And including, well, Jess is great because he also talks about some of the equipment that you would need if you were doing it from home. And then he can talk about the social media and everything else that happens with it, promoting your program, your show. It's not that hard. But as with so many things, the hardest step is definitely going to be the first step. And I just took a look at the clock and I went over. But hey, you know what? That's the beauty of social media, YouTube, the rest of that stuff. And I'll tell you a story on that one too, because why not? But all of these folks are there to support your efforts. Some of them come with a fee, some of them don't come with a fee, some small fees, some bigger fees. It all depends what you need, all the rest of that kind of stuff. But figure it out. Now, if you want to figure out what your podcast should be about, you want to figure out what services you would need and how it is to look. Should you have a studio that looks like this in the background over here? Tim Healy's got a much plainer studio setup that he uses because he's much more about the content. He don't, this kind of stuff that's in the background, nothing there. Obviously, if it's audio, it doesn't make a hill of beans difference. As that goes, so it all depends. If you have to get it right, like have to get every detail of every information correctly, like one of those compliance-driven type scenarios where somebody's got to review it afterwards, then obviously you're not going to do it live. You're going to get it recorded, and then you can go back and edit. I don't edit. I don't edit. It's just what you see is what it is, that kind of thing. It just is. I'd much prefer to do that. And part of the reason why is because it's what I do. If I'm emceeing an event, that is live. Even if I'm reading a script, that's there. It's still live. It's still whatever happens, happens. The stuff I'm doing out there, announcing the car racing and that kind of thing. The drag race. I got to be more specific now. Announcing the drag racing. This year, I hope to start to announce the go-kart racing. Yes, that is true. I'll be talking about Johnny coming around turn 3, cuts on the inside of Billy, who's going to be on the outside, but watch out. Mary's right behind, looking to take advantage of the two of them. That'll be a whole lot of fun to go and do. The drifting, still got to work on the language on that one, but definitely want to show you some videos about what these drift cars are. Designated drift cars. I'll be perfectly clear about the whole thing. But let's get back to this. So if you need to do something, again, mine is all about talking. Talking. I do a lot of live talking. It's not edited talking, it's live talking. Scripted, not scripted, and everything's scripted anyhow every once in a while. If I'm emceeing an event, obviously, some of it needs to be scripted. But for the most part, it's live. So I would do with this podcast. I really don't even want to edit this thing. I'd rather have the mistakes in there because I want you to know that you can make mistakes and you could make up for it. I didn't want to use the word apologize. You want to make up for it, change it around, make humor out of it, whatever you want to do. That kind of thing. That's one way. But if you are in the medical profession and you're given a factual something, it is certainly a little bit different. That's the kind of thing I would suggest go immediately, getting the professional help to make sure that what you do is and what gets sent out is exactly what needs to be after everybody reviews it as that goes. So that becomes a real important thing that you certainly want to do. All right, let's get back to editing. Now we're at 14 minutes. Oh my gosh, look at that. That guy could talk. And here's the reason why. So I came up with this fantastic idea after talking to my friends over at North Shore TV. They said, "Hey, why don't you do a podcast? No, why don't you do a TV show?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I like to be on TV. TV's kind of cool. I've had a couple of different things that have gone that route." I said, "Yeah, go call Cablevision and get yourself a time slot." So what did I do? I called Cablevision. I got myself a time slot. Time slot was that, remember that 4 minutes at four? Well, I did the four, it wasn't 4 minutes. It was 30 minutes at 4 o'clock on the fourth day of the week. Of course, that would be on Thursday, so that was my time slot. Thursdays at 4 o'clock. That's the easy part. Here was the challenge: 30 minutes. Yes, 30 minutes. It had to be 30 minutes. And I will repeat myself on this one. It had to be 30 minutes. So therein lies the problem. If I went under, I had the intro and the outro that I could always use to kind of extend it out a little bit, not by minutes, but a minute, 2 minutes, something like that. It was editing, cutting it down to that 30 minutes. And even if it went to like 32, 35, it was the one video I put up last week with Pete. So that one went over, and I had to cut it down. And I am telling you, editing is a challenge. It is absolutely a challenge. And it's one thing to learn how to cut different, to cut this stuff out, to cut the sound out, and the video and the rest of that kind of thing. It's another thing to decide what to cut out. Hmm. You cut out the wrong thing, you really do change the story on stuff. You really do impact whatever the message was. So I was really, really cautious, about doing that because I did not want to change Pete's story. Not at all. But editing is a challenge. Definitely is a challenge. And then I found for me is that I was spending way too much time doing that, and I didn't want to do that. So I don't want to do it. So if I ever do have to edit something for time, well, then I'm going to send it to somebody to edit out. How I'm going to communicate to them what to edit, what not to edit because of the message, I don't know because I've never done that before. But I'd much rather stay here live on Facebook, live on where are we at here? We're on YouTube and we're on LinkedIn, as far as I know, at least, and it could go. Oh, also Spotify. And again, I'm not too sure how successful I was getting that the Pete episode out on Spotify, but I think it's out there someplace. I still haven't found it, whatever I did. But there's no time. I can go as long as I want, and that's really what, or short for that fact. That's really what I did. I don't want to spend the time editing, so I know what I don't want to do, and I know what I do want to do. That's it's my golden question to you. So if you're going to do a podcast, if you're going to get on, you're going to do a little LinkedIn video or Facebook video, Instagram video, and stuff like that. How long should you go approximately? Do you want to edit it or not? Are you going live, purely live, and I mean live, live? Or are you going to do it where it's recorded and then you put in whatever kind of stuff that would go along with it, the special effects and the rest of that stuff? And then what is the message you're delivering? And let me tell you something, and I will go back to Arthur on this one too. Your brand. You big time will affect your brand by what you're putting out to everybody, obviously. But what you put out, whatever video you put out, whatever podcast you do, whether it's audio, visual, anything, you're a guest on somebody else's podcast, whatever it is, your speaking skills, all the rest of that stuff, all that stuff matters in a big way depending upon your message. If you tell people that you are very slow and methodical when you approach life, when you approach your career, and you talk a million miles a minute, that's not consistent. That's just one thing. Clothing, how you dress, what are you wearing? Is it consistent with your message? That's a big thing too, man, that first visual. Also, if you're a guest on someone's show, you should know whether or not you're on camera or off camera. You don't want to be doing things that you wouldn't do on camera. So be aware of that whole thing. Get yourself set up. There's a whole bunch of different ways, but be careful, cautious, and understanding that what you do put out to your audience really does impact how they see you. Be consistent on that one. Be prepared. Do it. Definitely do it. But without a doubt, have some sort of a game plan beforehand, and that'll give you a lot more confidence in whatever it is that you're doing. If you didn't know me, you know me now. I am Brian, and now you know Brian. And the website is I know Brian. A little consistent on that one, and that's where that's at. So on my website, as with everything, you're going to be meeting people that that know me. And I'm involved in the career aspect, in the excitement of hobbies, turning them into careers, in all kinds of different things, the communication skills, the podcasts, all the rest of that stuff. I'd like to share my world with you. Why? Because I think it's important. Boy, does that sound like an egotistical thing. but anyhow, I really do think it's important. There's a reason why I'm involved with the ECNY Foundation. Involved is an understatement. Is because I believe that we have a tremendous opportunity here on Long Island to create some phenomenal careers by doing things that we like to do, by taking these hobbies and turning them into careers. It's relatively easy to do. And it's not about, I mean, you want to get paid, you want to get careers, not jobs. But if you don't have the money for the schooling, for the technical side, that doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. You be authentic, you communicate that well, people will see it. And there's all kinds of resources out there. I want to share those resources with you because they know me. And you know what? So do you. All right. I'm out of here at this point in time. Went way over my 10 minutes, 15 minutes, now it's 20 minutes. God, I love this stuff. All right, Annie, we'll talk to you soon. Every Thursday, we're going to put something out over here. Every Thursday at 4 o'clock, we're going to do some sort of a video or play something or introduce you to some people along the way, too. So for now, I am signing off, and we got the Toastmaster meeting tonight. It's online. If you're interested, send me a message. Talk to you soon. Talk to you next week, actually.